Alright, class, this is my final Silk Roads presentation. I hope you enjoy. What is the Silk Road? The Silk Road is a network of trade established through Central Asia and parts of Europe that connects many cultures and spreads both goods and that connected many cultures and spread both goods and ideas. Before there was the Silk Road, though, there was the pre-Silk Road. An early version of the Silk Road is established throughout China to trade silk in China itself. So China was trading between their post. Buddhism was at the same time in India, though. Buddhism was founded by Suchihara Gamuta. Hope I got that right. This became a very popular religion throughout India. Due to its popularity, it eventually, during the start of the Silk Roads, was able to spread. That's why I named this one the start of the Silk Roads and the spread of Buddhism. The Han Dynasty is established and expands the Silk Roads to other countries in 206 BCE. In 220 CE, they are, thrown out of power. At the same time, while during this, though, the Kushan Empire is helping spread Buddhism through funding monasteries throughout the Silk Road in the 1st century CE. They're doing this by basically building up the monasteries so they look at and making them inviting the travelers, as well as changing the Buddhist religion to suit some of those travelers more so, making the idea more palatable to those travelers. It works like a charm, though. Buddhism finds a way into China as the Han Dynasty is on its way out in 220 CE. Before this, though, Alexander the Great was taking over the world during 331 and 323 BCE. He dies, though, but his legacy kind of lives on still. He establishes Alexandria, which becomes Constantinople at some point, and other trading hubs like Schmerkeland. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. But Silk Roads becomes popular in Rome at 300 CE. This is very important just because it starts showing us how the West and the East are kind of collaborating and trading between each other, and how the West kind of maybe doesn't rely, like the upper class of the West relies on the East to get them things of like luxury items, as you can see way farther in this, especially here where the Byzantine Empire starts to trade silk, their own silk, after they were able to hire monks to sneak silk into Constantinople after stealing from China in 552 CE. This, though, leads to the rise of the Middle East in 600 CE and 20,000 CE. The Tang Dynasty starts to rule China in 1681 CE. They took over after the Han Dynasty. Sorry, my brain just faded off for a second. With Christianity appearing in China around 781, where Christianity actually got pretty popular for a while. It was that and Buddhism, but in 941, the Tang kind of began to think, hey, having a bunch of Western like a bunch of other cultures influence our own isn't really a good idea. So they started to expel Western influence from China by getting rid of Buddhist temples and Christian churches and other places of worship, as well as kind of closing their doors to trade to a bit. This is also what helps Islam, which was founded in the 600s by Muhammad. And after his death, the Arab and basically the Muslims, his followers, started to take over, and they had Jerusalem by 637 CE, and they had Persia by 642. They soon became a trading force to be taken seriously due to their basically seaworthy boats and just how they were able to get around. Their mobility basically made them like one of the biggest threats to China's dominance on the Silk Road. Actually, with them basically overtaking China soon. Constantinople became one of the largest trading centers just due to them undercutting the silk market and being able to sell silk cheaper than most places. So they were able to. So more people went there to buy silk. But soon all this would kind of come crashing down on them, you could say, as the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan was starting to expand in 1100 CE. And this leads us to the Mongolian High and the Black Death. 12,000 to 14,000 CE. The Mongolian Empire conquers both Central and Western Asia, bringing a time of prosperity to the Silk Road and safe travel. So it was very peaceful there during 1200 CE. This is where the Mongolians were able to establish the Pax Mongolia, which means the Mongolian peace, with Kublai Khan being able to establish schools, good trade, and basically making the Silk Road almost to its highest point. Kublai Khan then met Marco Polo in 1200 CE. This was, I wouldn't say a turning point, but it definitely was a bigger point in history, just because it kind of shows how the West and China would be trading more, and unfortunately leading to the very end, the Black Death decimating the population all over the world, and it's spreading through the Silk Roads, brings an end to the Silk Road in 1300 CE. After the Black Death, people were very, very, very not keen on trading, just because basically something that wiped out half the population in Europe, and I'm trying to remember. I think it wiped out like tons of population in China as well. People were just not willing to trade anymore. So that kind of just brought an end to the Silk Road, unfortunately. But its effects can be still felt out today. The reason why Buddhism and Islam and Christianity are all as prevalent as they are in the Middle East and even the Chinese regions, the Asian regions, is because of the Silk Road. And you could also say that many of our technologies spread throughout there. Paper money spread throughout the Silk Road, with China being the first to establish that, as well as other inventions. And that is all. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Have a good night.